All right, Mayor, we are live.
All right. Well, thank you, Susan. Thank all of you for being here this evening, and I certainly want to welcome you to the Benton Town Council meeting for this Tuesday, January the 5th, 2021. You guys thought I was going to mess that up. But the evening's young. I'm sure I'll mess up something. And we particularly want to welcome those folks that have been able to find us on Facebook. We appreciate both of you guys being with us. And so we'll call the meeting to order. And Susan, I'll turn it back over to you for a roll call and your announcements.
All right, council roll call. Councilmember Lyles.
Here.
Councilmember Mullins.
Here.
Councilmember Stovall.
Here.
Vice Mayor McCarty.
Here.
Mayor Gross.
Here.
We do have a quorum of council, town staff that are present: Pete Peters, Susan Johnson, Ann Cantrell, Chief Drummond. Also present, Jeremy Carroll, our town attorney, Debbie Adams with the Benton Messenger, and Larry Jackson with AEP. I would like to confirm that our meeting is being held in accordance with Town Ordinance number 1016 and Section 4-0.01G of Chapter 1289 of the 2020 Acts of the Virginia General Assembly, and everyone present is participating by electronic means. Mayor, the meeting is yours.
Okay. Again, thank you, Susan. Now we'll go to our moment of silence. We use that here in Benton so that everyone can pray or as they see fit. If you choose to pray during this time, I certainly will. And if you are going to pray, I would ask you to keep our country in your prayers and thoughts. Lord knows we need it. And certainly our community, this council meeting here tonight. And I'll close the moment of silence, and then we'll ask Councilmember Lyles to say the Pledge of Allegiance. And we have found that if everyone else will mute during that time and let Keith say it, it sounds a little better that way. So if you folks would stand for those two items, please, we would appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for the opportunity to be here tonight. We lift to you our country and just pray for protection. And certainly I want to lift our community in this council meeting to you. And Father, we just pray that you'll be with us throughout the evening. For it's in his name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, folks. We appreciate that. And we'll move on to the upcoming community events. Vice Mayor, you have anything on your list this evening?
I do not. We have lots of good stuff going on in the area, but right now we don't have any events going on.
Right. Hopefully that will change. Springtime and all. We got our fingers crossed, right? To say the least.
Right.
Yes. Someone's okay. Request to postpone, add, or change the agenda. Is there anything? If not, we will move on to the consent agenda, which tonight contains the minutes of the regular meeting of December 1, 2020. Yeah, that's right, December 1, 2020. Are there any changes or additions? Hearing none, we will entertain a motion for approval of the consent agenda as presented.
I'll make a motion to adopt as presented.
Okay.
Second.
Motion by the Vice Mayor, second by Councilman Stovall. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. I guess we can do that, Susan, isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, with that, we'll move on to citizens' comments. Susan, have you received anything in the clerk's office since our last meeting?
No, sir, no requests for comments at this time.
Okay. And with that, we will move on to the bid opening for the franchise agreement. At this time, I will ask the town clerk to open and read any bids that we have received for an electric power transmission and distribution system throughout the town of Benton.
Mayor, we have received the following bid. Appalachian Power Company files its bid for the franchise advertising proposed to be sold and hereby offered to pay for such franchise the sum of $1,000. That is all the bids that we received, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other persons desiring to submit a bid at this time? Hearing no further bids, the bidding is closed. And actually, we will proceed to a public hearing concerning the proposed ordinance to sell and grant a franchise for an electric power transmission and distribution system throughout the town of Benton, and the bids that we've received for the grant of the franchise. And so I will, as per usual, officially open the public hearing, and we'll ask for a report from staff, after which we'll ask for public comments and then council discussion. So I think our town attorney is going to handle this. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Very briefly, we came to council at the last meeting and gave a briefing on this issue. Enclosed in your packet this evening is the draft ordinance, which has been prepared and advertised and establishes a franchise in the public streets and ways and public land in the town of Benton for a successful bidder to be able to use those public streets and public lands for the electric power transmission and distribution system. As Susan indicated, we received one bid from AEP. If town council deems that bid to be acceptable and votes in that manner, then we will modify this ordinance slightly to note that AEP is the grantee of the franchise. We would indicate that the franchise takes effect today, January 5. And there may be one other, I did notice candidly one typo in there that we'll fix, and I'll talk to Mr. Jackson about that later if he needs me to mention it to him. Caption is mislabeled. But with that, it's a 20-year franchise, renewable, I believe, for another 20 years. It authorizes the successful grantee to take such steps as are necessary to maintain the electric transmission system throughout the town, including on poles, including buried in the streets and other ways of the town. There are insurance requirements and bonding requirements to protect the town. There's an indemnification provision that protects the town. There are obligations with regard to abandoned facilities that the successful bidder would have to remove those abandoned facilities within a certain period of time after they are abandoned. And with that, that's my brief summation of the ordinance. Happy to answer any questions, of course, council may have. If council has questions for Mr. Jackson, I'm sure he'd be happy to respond as well. But with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you, sir. We appreciate that report, Jeremy. And Susan, have you received any requests or any public comments concerning this item?
No, none received, Mayor.
Okay. Council, I'll turn it over to you. Do you have any anything you would like to discuss, or are there any questions for Larry? He's with us this evening. So do you have any questions or comments? I assume that this included underground burial of at least 3 blocks of power lines, right? No, I'm only teasing. Come on.
We'll work on that, Mayor.
Yeah, one of my pets.
Understood.
pet projects, you might say.
Yeah. Is there any way that you guys could just keep the $1,000 and do that?
Yeah, that's right. We give you that. Right. That probably wouldn't even cover the postage, so for that. Okay, if there are no questions or no further discussion, we will officially close the public hearing.
Mr. Mayor,
And-
I will make one, if I may, I'll make one other comment under the controlling code provision and the provision of the Virginia Constitution. A franchise has to be approved by a 3/4 vote of all members of council. Just wanted to make sure
Okay.
everybody was aware of that.
Okay, and I appreciate that information, and we, in fact, will be taking that up now as we move on. Well, actually, yes, we can take up the ordinance now, right, Susan?
That's correct.
So the ordinance you have before you, council would in fact approve the franchise agreement as we've heard discussed. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to adopt the ordinance.
Okay,
I'll second.
we have a motion by Councilmember Lyles, a second by Councilmember Mullins. Council, any further discussion or questions? If not, Susan, would you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Lyles,
Yes.
Councilmember Mullins,
Yes.
Councilmember Stovall,
Yes.
Vice Mayor McCarty,
Yes.
Mayor Gross.
Yes. Well, the ordinance passes. We achieved the 3/4 that you were talking about there, Jeremy. And
Yes, sir.
always good to have you with us. We know Jeremy's going to show up with a good-looking tie. There he is. He's the only one that does. I'm glad you were with us this evening too, Larry. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you. I look forward to working with the town as we have in the past.
Okay, great. Thank you. Jeremy, do you have anything else under town attorney there?
No, sir, Mr. Mayor. That's all this evening. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We will move on to the town manager, Mr. Peters section. However, there's one item I'd like to shift around a little bit, you might say. And that's the first item under the items requiring actions. And that is a resolution that would approve and authorize the mayor and the town clerk to execute the employment agreement between the town and the town manager. And of course, that would be retroactive to January 1, 2021. First of all, council, any questions or anything? We've talked about the employment agreement quite a bit. This is a matter of housekeeping, actually. If there are no questions, we'll entertain a motion for approval of that resolution.
I'll make the motion.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine.
Okay, I think I
Girl
heard.
power.
That's right.
I think I heard the
Mayor,
vice mayor make the motion.
Mr. Mayor, tell me once again, what's the guy's name? What's the guy's name we're voting on? I don't know his name. Do I know him? Have I met him?
Someone
I don't
asked
get
me
to see
about,
anyone in person very often.
so Mike, was that a second, or Lori, did you second that?
I think Lori seconded it. I just want to know who he was. I just want to know who I was voting for.
Somebody asked me about Richie.
I'll
the other day.
second.
Okay. All right. Susan, I think we have a motion and a second. If you would call the roll, please.
Councilmember Lyles,
Yes.
Councilmember Mullins, Councilmember Mullins.
Yes.
Councilmember Stovall,
Yes.
Yes.
Vice Mayor McCarty,
Yes.
Mayor Gross.
Yes. Pete, there was some hesitation there, but I think we made it okay.
Yeah.
I noticed that. I took note.
Was the original motion by you, Sabrina? Got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Just curious, I know this is housekeeping and all, but had this not have been approved, would Pete have been working for the last 5 days for free?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
As a matter of fact, guys,
No,
Now-
Jeremy,
now
see,
that you
Jeremy
mention
steps
that,
in and
Pete.
goes, Jeremy steps in and goes, a single employee in the government cannot work for free. You gotta pay them. They might not like what they did, but you gotta pay them.
Now that you guys mention that, you may be interested to know that Pete actually even worked for New Year's Day. Can you believe it?
Wow.
Yeah.
I can believe it.
Yeah.
He was emailing your lawyer.
I will just remind you that there were probably a dozen police officers doing the same.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. You're exactly right.
So one
But
thing
that
I
was your
picked,
one.
one thing I picked up on that too is our attorney was working New Year's Day as well.
Oh, really?
No,
Not.
Well, it was all after lunchtime, I can tell you that.
Okay,
Mr.
Mr.
Mayor,
Talmadge.
should I proceed?
Yes, I'll turn the rest of it over to you, sir.
All right, well, we have one additional item requiring action this evening, and that is a consideration of a resolution. This is regarding to some CARES Act funding we received for utility relief funding that assists with customers who may be delinquent on their utility bills. And I'll turn this over to the town treasurer, Ann Cantrell, for the presentation.
Can't hear you, Ann.
How about now?
Yes.
There we go.
Yay!
All right.
Okay. So during the 2020 special session, the Virginia General Assembly approved specific procedures and requirements applicable to utility service providers. So these provisions included the customer assistance grants. It also included a disconnection moratorium and requirements on customer repayment plans. As part of this legislation, the state is allowing utility providers who have a receivables balance greater than 1% of revenues to apply for exemption. So based on the report that I ran for the state on December 15th and an updated report that I ran before the release of the council packet on December 29th, you'll see that the town is carrying roughly a 4.5% receivable balance in comparison with our revenue budget. And so tonight, the council has before you a resolution which would support seeking exemption from the state moratorium. This would not imply that the town would immediately resume disconnection, but it would avail the town the option should payment arrangements become repeatedly non-paid or any other action is not working. So that's a brief summary, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Okay, Ann, thank you very much. Council, you have any questions for Ann? All right, you have before you a resolution that you just heard described. And so we need a motion to approve verifying all the utility accounts, as I say, like Ann just described. Is there a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay. Did I hear Keith make the motion or was that you, Mike?
No, you did not. I beat him to it. I mean, he was over there. I know, I got it.
Okay. All right, Mike made the motion to approve the resolution, second by Councilmember Lyles. Susan, please call a roll.
Councilmember Lyles,
Yes.
Councilmember Mullins,
Yes.
Councilmember Stovall,
Yes.
Vice Mayor McCarty,
Yes.
Mayor Gross.
Yes. Thank you,
Mr. Mayor, can I make a couple comments real quick? You
Yes,
know,
sir.
and I've talked about, I did talk about it in 2020 and then of course right now starting in 2021, but being one of the, I guess, being gratified the fact of serving on the finance committee, but the biggest thing, one of the biggest things that I think Ann brings to the table is, and her staff is that when you count the beans, as I say to her, but it's dollars that a lot of times that governments may miss. It's dollars that understanding how to bring that amount to the table. And, you know, as we heard at the last council meeting about the fact of the revenues that we've received through the pandemic, you know, I think that brings to the table just the work that office does. You know, you hear them talk about delinquents and how to follow up on delinquent water bills and those kind of things. So anyway, I mean, I think that's just part of it, of how we have come through this era of the pandemic and really made a difference. And so once again, I take my hat off. I do take my hat off to the finance department.
Yeah, I certainly agree with you, Mike, as a member of that committee also. It's evident that Ann and her staff do a great job. They work hard and they're very professional. So thank you folks for all you do there. So, okay. Pete, did you have anything else this evening?
Just a couple of comments, if I may. I wanted to recognize that there are 3 new restaurants either opened or about to open in Benton. First being Big Belly Pizza, Subs and Burgers on Lee Avenue in our downtown. Our Daily Bread is scheduled to open later this month, also on Lee. So we're excited to have both of those. And then Joe Good Pies, they're staffing up, and they will be a part of the new Vineyard Station complex. And they haven't set an exact date yet, but I know that they're eager to get open. So lots of new opportunities for our residents and visitors to come and enjoy. Very excited about that. Activity is incredibly busy in Econ Dev. So that's really good news for the town. A lot of interest, a lot of properties changing ownership and in various stages of redevelopment. So still even more great things ahead for our downtown and beyond. I also wanted just to take a moment to recognize my coworkers. You know, we say this a lot about how blessed we are to have a great team, but I'm getting to know you know, some more of my coworkers, particularly in the public works and the police department. And it's been a joy to work with them. And it's really, I'm very proud to see how hard and how dedicated our employees are working, particularly in such tough environments. This isn't the easiest to work in right now, but they're doing an incredible job. So I just wanted to recognize their contributions. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Certainly appreciate those comments. And you're exactly right. Matter of fact, I was going to make some similar comments a little bit later on. But thank you for that, Pete. Okay, and with that, I don't see any reports from the council committees, so we'll move on to the appointments for our boards and commissions. We have a couple of them for this evening. The first is for the Board of Zoning Appeals, and I'm sure you saw in the packet that Mr. Alan Casey has agreed to serve on that board once again upon his reappointment. So is there a motion or any comments, first of all, and a motion to appoint Mr. Casey to the Board of Zoning Appeals for a term that would end January 16th, 2026.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Casey.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for stepping up as a town citizen. I'll make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Stovall, a second by Councilmember Lyles. Susan, does that require a roll call?
Voice vote's fine.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye or waving or something.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Second item is for our planning commission. There again, I have a nominee that's willing to be reappointed, and that's Bob Benninger. And most of you folks, I'm sure all of you folks know Bob. He's done a great job. And this term, if he's reappointed, would end January 4th, 2025. So if there's any comments, now would be an appropriate time, and also a motion for approval.
I'll make a motion for approval.
Okay.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion by Vice Mayor McCarty and a second by Councilmember Mullins. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Okay.
Mayor, I'll make a comment real quick on Bob. You mentioned Bob, and we all know him from his tenure with the Water Authority, and he brings a lot to that committee as one that serves on the Planning Commission. I mean, the commission, not the committee, but he does bring a lot of knowledge to that commission, and we're really blessed to have Bob Dillinger on that commission.
Yeah, I certainly agree. And of course, don't forget, Bob was a former staff member here in town of
Well,
Benton.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, he loves the town and knows it well. So it's a good appointment. So thank you for that. Just a few comments tonight. First of all, Larry, I might say, well, certainly, I want to say thank you for being here. But what I was going to say is sometimes we kid around a lot, particularly when we have a light agenda as we did tonight. As you can tell, this council enjoys the job of being on council. And when you got a staff that prepares us all and is doing a great job, it's easy to be in a jovial mood. So, but we do serious work also.
Well, and you can tell you do serious work, and that's why Pete was able to announce that we've got 3 new restaurants opening, and things are growing in Benton, and we've got Rosie's and all that going on. So congratulations to you all for setting a stage to allow this to happen. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that. You're right. Things are going well. And I just want to take a moment to thank everyone. Certainly want to thank our professional staff, town council, our community partners, and our citizens for all the hard work and exceptional patience that we have seen on full display in 2020, especially since March. No need to dwell on the past year. We all know it was difficult, to say the least. However, as usual, the cream did rise to the top. The pandemic caused many visible difficulties, such as the cancellation or at least modification of some of our beloved community activities. The pandemic also forced many circumstances that were not so evident, such as an increased workload and just more of a hassle that was required to perform our usual duties, just as Pete mentioned earlier. It seemed everything was more difficult as we had to make adjustments on a daily basis. Many of our staff members worked harder to deliver the important services we provide as a town. I am proud to say that none of our town services were eliminated nor diminished. So thank you for all the hard work. I'm extremely excited about 2021. We all know that just turning the page on a calendar does not make all of the present challenges magically disappear. However, I believe that 2021 holds the promise of great hope for Benton and our entire region. We have an opportunity to do some significant things in our community. In the near future, we will be discussing some exciting economic development activity. We heard a few of them mentioned tonight, and meaningful community improvement projects right here in Benton. So 2021 does hold the promise of being a great year, and with God's help, it will happen right here in Benton. And with that, I will turn it over to the council for their comments. Vice Mayor, we will start with you this evening. Do you have anything further for the council?
I do. I just wanted to thank Pete and the police department. We had an individual, I think maybe it was a couple, that was violating our trash ordinance behind Bojangles, and they got that taken care of. And haven't seen him since, so I'm happy about that. So I just want to say thank you for that. And I also want to thank, the trash guys for all their hard work, extra work over the holidays. I know that on my street, there were mounds and mounds of, trash after the holidays. So a special thank you to them as well. And tonight, as I signed on, I'll always log into Facebook when we do this, or try to, just to see kind of who's watching. But I just want to say thank you to whoever does the Facebook page. The photos that are on there are awesome. I haven't looked at that, and tonight as I was logging in, I saw it, and definitely showcases our wonderful town. So thanks to all that are involved with that as well. And that's all.
Okay, thank you, Vice Mayor. And with that, we will move to Councilman Lyles. Keith, you have anything further this evening?
Not a whole lot. I will echo exactly what you and Sabrina have said, especially around the last year. Looking forward to 2021, and want to wish everyone a happy new year. It can only get better. I can only imagine what it will be with the year that the town of Benton had with the pandemic. When it goes away, I can imagine what the year we're going to have. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to working with everyone and all the excitement that our town brings to everyone. And I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I think I'm going to go and play on the backhoe some more.
Oh, man, be careful. Everyone be careful, right?
They have done a lot of work on that property to allow you, Councilwoman Mullins, I'm just letting you know, don't call me when that backhoe is jammed into the side of your new house and he's going, what did I just do?
Yeah.
Thanks for all the
Right. Yeah, we're here to support you, brother. Councilmember Mullins, do you have anything further this evening?
I have all confidence in Keith. Tommy's pretty protective over his backhoe and dump truck and toys. And so if he trusts him, then that's good enough for me. We've had many exciting events over on that property in 2020. And as long as nobody gets hurt, we're in good shape. We'll just keep moving forward. Thank you all for the hard work in last year. And like the mayor said, just turning the page doesn't erase everything. Y'all continue to be safe and take care of yourselves. And we're gonna keep moving forward and do great things. So thank you, everybody.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Stovall, you have anything further?
Well, I'm glad we're gonna start 2021 out knowing that somebody has got confidence in Keith Lyles. I mean, I'm glad to know that. I'll be able to sleep good tonight. I do first off want to say, Mr. Peters, Pete, Pete rode the garbage truck last Wednesday, and getting us through 2020 was the staff of the town of Benton. Thank you to the staff, to Pete and everybody on the staff of the town of Benton. Jeremy, thank you for leading us through the law side and keeping us there. Mr. Mayor, and you, my fellow council members, we came through, once again, I say this, together as a team. And somebody started this conversation by saying something about a team, but as a team, we brought the town of Benton through 2020. We made some big decisions. We made some decisions that, as I say, is a legacy for the town. The vice mayor made some great comments about, the town and the people of the town and the work that's done. So, you can't do anything but say, hey, 2021 is going to be better. Mr. Mayor, you said it well. God's going to be with us. We're going to kick a year off. I think that we have only the the biggest thing we've got to look at is just the positive side and everything going in the right direction. So, Happy New Year, I guess I should say to everybody.
Well said, my friend. You're exactly right. I think we're going to have a great year. I too would like to wish everyone a happy new year. And then everything that we've mentioned, of course, I think all my council members and staff members would like to thank our citizens for the opportunity to serve them here in the town of Benton. We get a lot of support in our community, and that means a whole lot. You know, it's much better when you know you have that kind of support in the community. You can certainly move ahead. Okay, is there anything further to come before council meeting this evening? If not, we will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. You folks be careful walking down the hall as you go home this evening. Okay? Good night, folks. God bless.
Bye.
Peace.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.
Night.